again, Mark here from Talking Bass. Today we're going to look at that super famous and incredibly cool bass line from the song Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, played by the late, great Adam Yauch. Yes, it's normally played with a pick, but today we're going to look at playing it a little differently by just using fingers. For many of you non-pick players, it'll be a lot easier to play this way, and it's a good gateway to the strumming style of players like Les Claypool. So, as usual, the lesson material's all there over at Talking Bass, so just click the link in the info below to play along. The tune's about 86 beats per minute, and it sounds like this. Now, before we begin, just a word on the tone that I'm using here. I'm using my good old Enfield bass here, set to a Fender Jazz setting, so that's 2 single coil pickups, and Adam uses a Fender Jazz in the live versions that you can find here on YouTube. I'm running this into a Billy Sheehan overdrive pedal with the tone pulled back quite a bit, and an Ampeg SVT amp sim for that grind. Obviously, any overdrive pedal is going to do for live use, but an overdriven SVT is the way to go if you want a really sweet crunch. So, first things first, let's get down the strumming action, because once you have that, everything is going to seem a lot easier. So, as an exercise, you want to hold the hand lightly across the strings, so that's the fretting hand, across the strings to mute everything off. So you're just getting ghost notes there. Then place the thumb of the plucking hand on the E string and then just strum back and forth along the A, D and G strings with this open and close action. Okay, so we've got this action. So we've got the hand coming in and out. So thumb on the E string there and that's the strumming action. Okay, so that's the strumming technique. Now we need some notes in there. Now the bulk of this riff is played with just 2 notes. A flat at the 11th fret of the A string and G flat at the 11th fret of the G string. You know, sounds really simple, only 2 notes, but it's the notes that we're not playing that are going to be the problem. We don't want any notes to ring out on the E and D strings. So to begin with, we're just going to fret that A flat at the 11th fret of the A string with the 2nd finger, so that's the middle finger, and we're going to bring the thumb round slightly to rest against the E string and choke it off. We're also going to have the thumb of the strumming hand there on the E string, so, you know, we haven't got any worries about the E string. Then you want to take the 1st finger and rest that lightly against the D string. So we're not really getting much there. I'm resting it roughly over the 10th fret. Then you want to take the 3rd finger, the ring finger, and rest that lightly against the G string over the 11th fret. So we're muting both the D and G strings. We're only fretting that 11th fret of the A string. Now just try picking each string, and you should just get ghost notes on the D and G string, ghost note on the E string, but that A flat on the A string. Next, you want to just strum straight 16th notes like this. Okay, so the only real note we're getting there is the A flat, and we're getting a bit of the ghost note and the harmonic residue that's in there. So we're not holding down any of the notes on the D and G strings. Just strumming there, and that's all we need. Once you can do that cleanly, you can start adding in those accents on the 11th fret of the G string. So the rhythmic pattern for this is going to work in groups of 3. We have 4 groups of 3 and then a 4. So we're going to accent the 3 of each of those groups. Now, that's a lot easier when I demonstrate it than just talking it. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember what I said, 4 groups of 3, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It all works out as 4, 4, but, you know, it's just that we're subdividing the 16ths to get the nice syncopated accents. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said, we're going to be accenting on the 3 of each of those. So if we just clap on the 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we can add those G flats on the G string into the accented 16th notes. We do this by keeping that finger held lightly against the string, just as we did before, and then we just stab at the note on each accent. Okay, so we're getting getting that note in there. So you just stab at it with that third finger. So before trying that Sabotage rhythm, just try playing normal groups of 4 and try playing that accent on 3 each time like this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is much harder to do for beginners than you might think. You need good finger independence in order to hold down the A string, mute the D string, mute the G string, and then isolate the G string for the accents. So you want to try this as slow as you need to, even if it's this slow. Remember to accent with the strum. So now we can try the Sabotage rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a little trickier than the 4s technically because we switch the stroke for each accent. On the first time it's an upstroke, then a downstroke, and then upstroke, and so on. So we're alternating each time. So up, down, up, down. So be sure to focus on the accent made with the downstroke. The fingernails are going to help on the upstroke. You know, that's easy because you've got the fingernails in there. But on the downstroke, you know, depending on the length of your fingernails, you might not get the same attack. You know, it might not cut through as much because you just don't have the fingernails there. So when doing that, just focus on increasing the attack to make up for it. So close the hand a little bit harder until they're both even in volume. So that's the main riff. Adam does play around with it quite a lot. It's not set in stone. He sometimes doubles up on accents, sometimes holds on an accented note, but get down that main riff and that consistent up-down strum action and you should be fine. So just start out slow, get the technique down, and then you can build up speed. So that's the main riff played at the start of the song. It's played 6 times, and on the 6th time, we have this pentatonic run. So this is a really simple run. We just come up, A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, G flat, A flat, and then finish on that. Well, we've got C flat, but it's B there. And it's basically just coming across the frets, 4th to 6th on each string. So 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, and then 4th on the G string. And it's hammered on as you work through. So we pluck the first note, hammer on. So hammer on each time. And you could play it with the 1st and 3rd finger, or I prefer to play it with the 1st and 4th fingers. In this position, it just sits nicer. Okay, so you get up to that top note, and then you just back into. Okay. To add this run into the riff, we're going to be playing the first 2 groups of 3 with the accents, and then we just play 2 strums and drop down. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So we've got those 2 strums at the end. Okay. Or you could even just hold that last note there. Doesn't really matter. So now with the 6 riffs at the beginning. And back up. So So that's Sabotage. Remember to like the vid, subscribe to the channel for weekly lessons, and leave a comment to let me know what other bass riffs you'd like covered. This is our 10th year and we have over 550 lessons here on YouTube, so plenty of content and lessons for you to check out. Also remember to visit the Talkingbass website to check out the tab for this lesson and then sign up for the totally free membership to gain access to a massive amount of free content, downloads, forums, and more. There are over 120,000 bass players active in the community, so get on over, sign up, and I'll see you next week.